I'm Kenji.
And I'm Vic, and welcome to a fun episode of a DSPA Newscast number 14. Or, yeah, we'll say, is it a special broadcast or is it Newscast 14? I think we'll go with Newscast 14, but it is kind of special.
Yeah,
We
say
had
it's a totally special one.
totally special one. Definitely. And we're both almost recovered from last week.
Are you kidding me? Not even close to being recovered.
Well, I got in a
home
little
last
earlier.
night.
Yeah, you did. You had a longer day yesterday than I did. So in case you didn't notice, or if this is your first time listening and you didn't know, there's slightly different entrance than we normally have. A little intro into our little newscast we normally do, with some fun flying by you and VOing by me. So it was legal.
It was.
And it was legal. It was a very legal flight. Why are we so tired, Kenji? What did we do last week?
Exponential.
Mm-hmm. And where was that?
That was in Orlando. We did not go to Disney World.
No,
do that. Nope.
Oh, although it seemed like Disney World was on the plane with me back to Denver Friday morning. Lots of kids.
The exhausted parents.
Yeah, the exhausted parents and the kids having high on too much sugar.
Yep.
We knew we were going to go. We actually media partner with AUVSI XPONENTIAL, so it was an honor to be their media partner this year. And one of the things that we wanted to do when we reached out about, and both they and the FAA said, yeah, that'd be fine, is we knew the FAA was going to be there. That's one of the really cool things about the expo, is that the FAA has a booth. The integration office has a booth. And so we reached out and said, hey, FAA, we reached out to Nina Gullen, who's one of the comm people there, and said, can we talk to some FAA people and let's put faces and voices behind all those emails we get from different organizations within the FAA.
Well, hey, remember, we always see Kevin, though.
Everybody knows Kevin. Everybody knows Kevin. Kevin is the drone guy. I think that's on, like I said before, I think it's on the back of his business cards, or it should be. But what were your thoughts on Expo before we get into that?
My thoughts on Expo, it was absolutely fantastic. There were a lot of attendees, which was great. And then AUVSI just put on a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm.
I was very impressed with attendance up. I'm very happy, and I'm looking forward to really what the industry does in the next couple of years, because COVID just shut everything down. And I think this is the first one back where there was lots of people. It was really funny in that we saw each other for the first time in person. And it's like, you're a lot taller than I expected, because you remember, we see each other on a screen.
Yep.
Tall. So that
heard that a lot.
That was the theme of it. But a lot of vendors, a lot of people. Oh, by the way, big shout out to Brink for letting us use their facilities, as well as Drone Up, who let us use their facilities as well. So big shout out to those folks. They
both had two-story displays, and so we got to use their upper story for some of the interviews and some of the B-roll and that kind of stuff. So yes, that was great. And we were in UAS Colorado's right across the aisle from Brink, so that was kind of fun. Yes.
But like you were mentioning, AUVSI, top-notch organization. We work with them. We love them, especially Scott's there.
Yeah.
And then Brian's there, Smitsky, their entire policy crew is there. So thanks to everybody, and Jackie too. Thank you for your hospitality. So
yes, thank you very much for that. They did a phenomenal job with almost a new crew, really, and being rusty at it. Like everybody else is, it went off really well. There were some big players that weren't there, but I think it was kind of, everybody kind of talked about that, but it was hard for some of them to make the commitment far enough out to actually do that. So I got a funny feeling here in Denver. Yay. Super happy about that next May. I think it's going to even be better. I think final numbers were 67. Don't quote me on that. 100 attendees, and the floor was full.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was really cool. But yeah, it was fun.
Well, make sure I get to do a one shot at Denver.
Oh, I'm figuring out how to do that. Yeah, we're gonna figure out how to do that and make some phone calls and see what we can do, because I think that'd be cool.
The other thing, don't forget Adrian too.
Oh yeah. Oh boy, Adrian Doko. Mr. AUVSI North
The
Texas.
mayor.
The mayor. The mayor of Orlando and Vegas and Texas and everywhere. Yes.
Yeah.
Adrian's a rock star. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what did we get to do then? We got to talk to the FAA.
Yep.
4 people.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Kevin Morris, of course. We talked about that a little bit last time. Everybody knows Kevin. Kevin's awesome. He is the drone guy. We also got to talk to Elena George, which you and I both know. Never met in person. And she's a lot shorter than I thought. I mean, I knew she was kind of short, but that was kind of funny.
Well, Vic, you're tall.
I am tall. I am tall. So there's that. There's that. I'm not as tall as I used to be, but yeah. And we got to meet Eric Jennings. Very, very, very nice man. He's the ATO UAS integration lead. ATO is Air Traffic Organization. So he's kind of the whole drone versus air traffic organization guy. And he's moving somewhere, though. I heard him talk, and I don't share it's public, so I'm not going to say what I heard. And then we got to talk to Jess Orquina. And she is the acting manager of the UAS office. So that was kind of cool. You got to interview her right after the symposium, which was also kind of cool, but we're really not going to talk about that. But that was kind of cool too.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Thinking that we roll this. We've been blabbing on and on and on.
Yeah. Let's do this. We were allowed to ask some questions. Of course, it's a government agency. You know, we submit the questions beforehand, but we had some latitude with follow-ups. That was kind of fun. And so we'll just dive right in here. And here you go. This is Kevin, Jess, Elena, and Eric from the FAA answering some questions which we put to them, which was really nice to have, really nice to hear. So here you go.
Kevin, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate the FAA making themselves available to us to really kind of put a face to the people that email everybody. I mean, we get emails from everybody at the FAA, and it's nice to have the ability to really show that there's people behind those emails. And that's kind of what we like to do. So tell us your name, first of all. I already said your first name.
Sure.
What you do at the FAA and why you do it.
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me on, Vic. I really appreciate it. It's really nice to see people in 3D as opposed to on the computer screen or reading emails again. So, as you mentioned, my name is Kevin Morris. I've been with the FAA for about 15 years. The first large portion of that time I spent in flight standards, doing pilot certification, a lot of work. And it was about the last 7 years I got into the drone side, both as an FAA safety team program manager and eventually into our headquarters office where I worked on policy, guidance, and regulation. And now, finally, with the Office of Communication, where sort of my FAA drone guy persona has come out, and I do a lot of the outreach and get to meet great people like you.
It's fun. We love seeing you on there. You've developed well from your first podcast to your current podcast. That's really kind of fun. And you were an airline pilot before, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
What made you decide to get into drones?
So it was right around the time of, if I can sort of carbon date myself here with drones,
it's not that hard.
The 333, the 333, 336, all that time is when I really started to look at drones and say, hey, wait a minute, this is changing the landscape. Okay. It's really, in a lot of ways, I think of it as we're living right now kind of in a rebirth of the internet, if you will. This is going to change how things work in this country and around the world, just like the internet changed things. And I thought, what a great time to be on this group and working with these people and doing something that we're really kind of writing our own history path here. We're working together, collaborating. I thought this was a great time to jump into this and work with industry on this really cool aspect of aviation.
Well, it's cool that you bring the traditional aviation side to it. So that's really neat that you can bring that in. But then you also have a 107, correct?
Yes, correct.
Is it current?
It is current.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes. I'm glad to hear that because I never knew if you had or not.
I do.
How does your office, or the communication office, work with the other offices within the FAA to kind of help get the communication, get the knowledge out to what is usually, and I'll include myself in that category, I don't come from traditional aviation. I'm a drone guy.
Yes.
I've been in small airplanes, hate it.
Don't sell yourself short, though.
Yeah, but most people don't dive as deep as I have, for obvious reasons, because they're not some very policy wonk like me. But how do you get that education to them who are not traditional aviators?
Really good question, because it's really a large undertaking. If you think of the FAA and all the different groups that we have and organizations within the FAA, from aircraft certification to pilot certification to oversight to air traffic management to the integration office, there's a lot of different what we call lines of business in the FAA that work on drone messaging. Our job in the Office of Communications is to make sure that we have a single, solid, collaborative voice when it comes to drones. So somebody doesn't come to the FAA and get one message from, let's say, an air traffic partner, but a different message from the integration office, and then our flight standards office says something completely different. It's confusing enough for people that don't have traditional backgrounds in aviation. So our job really is to make sure that when the FAA speaks, we're doing it with a single, consistent voice, so that our stakeholder community understands what we're asking of them, and also understands when they ask us a question, what our answer means.
And that's come a long way. You and I have talked about this in the past, that there was you ask FISDOPER and you get a different answer. You ask UAS help at FAA.gov, you get a different answer, which, by the way, the guys in that office now are awesome.
They're really good.
And so it's nice to have that unified answer.
Yes. Yep.
That helps immensely.
Yep, absolutely. And that's something, too, that we work with. The UAS Help Desk is part of our Office of Integration, and we communicate with them, I would say, almost on a daily basis when they have questions that are technical or not the normal run-of-the-mill questions, to make sure that we can connect them with other groups in the FAA to provide that consistent answer.
That's nice.
Yes.
Because it's so nice to have that group working. Because a lot of times it was, they didn't have the right answers at first. Because not many people did.
Right.
But they were trying real hard, and they tried real hard to get it.
Yeah, they do really good work.
Alina, thank you for joining us today. This is going to be kind of fun, very nice and relaxed and have fun. But tell us, a lot of people know you because you're on some of the podcasts that the FAA puts out, but tell us who you are, what you do for the FAA, and what your title is. That's important.
Yes. Okay, so my name is Alina George. You know that already.
Yes.
I have been with the FAA for 3 years, and I love it. I'm super happy to be here. I am a project specialist in the UAS Integration Office. So I work primarily with outreach and engagement. I want to talk to people like you.
Awesome, which is why you're here today.
Yes, it is.
Or this week. You're here all week.
I am here all week.
Absolutely. which is awesome. It's really awesome to see the FAA here, being involved in the industry, and being, putting faces to the emails and, those things that people get, all kinds of fun stuff like that. What is the agency? What is the FAA doing to get more people involved in aviation? Specifically, let's talk a little bit about drones, because that's kind of why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot of really great programs that are doing outreach, right? This is my area. One of the things that we're doing, it's called the STEM AVSET program. That's what it is for short, the acronym. It is the Space and Aviation Education Program.
That's why the FAA uses
Yes, this
acronyms.
is why we have acronyms. It's a long title, but we are working specifically with schools. We're talking K through 12 to get students interested in aviation, and we want them to know that there are a lot of really great careers that you can have in aviation. Not just pilots, right? You can be mechanics, you can be engineers, you can be anything you want, really. There's a whole industry. And to focus it a little bit more, not just general aviation, but drones, right? Again, same thing. You don't just have to be a pilot. You can also be a mechanic, an engineer, a designer, right? You need all of these different things to help the industry run. So there are so many opportunities.
There are, absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, somebody's got to build it, someone's got to design it, someone's got to code it. The whole 9 yards. So it's definitely more than just doing this. I mean, this is fun.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
It's a great part of it.
But it's not exactly the only thing that you get to do with drones. So how do all the offices, how do all the different departments in the FAA work together to educate the public about drone use, drone safety, all that fun stuff? So
there are actually two things that I want to talk about. So the first one is our UAS Support Center. So imagine, you're working with a company or something and you need help, you call their customer service line and then you get to talk to somebody. That's what the UAS Support Center is.
Right.
And they're fantastic. They know the answers to just about everything.
Yep.
And if they don't know the answer, then they can absolutely connect you with the person who does. But really, they have all the answers. If you have questions about waivers or authorizations, even how to register, they got you.
They got you. They got you covered. And it can either be UAShelp@FAA.gov
Yes.
if you want a written record, which isn't a bad thing.
Whatever.
And then the 800 number is?
Yeah, the 800 number is 844 Fly My UA.
That's it. It's easy to remember. 844 Fly My UA.
Yeah.
That's great. And yeah, they are a bunch of great guys and hopefully gals one of these days. Working that support center, and they're on the spot.
They're
too.
awesome.
They get back to you right away.
Oh yeah.
They really do.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the drone zone.
Yes. Yes.
So the drone zone is the website where you go on to register your drone, which is of course part of our rules and regulations, right? Comply. And with that, once you're in there, you create an account. You can then also apply for waivers. You can also apply for airspace authorizations. It's a great site to find out more information about drones and what you can do with them.
Right. It's sort of like the one-stop shop for all things drone related with the FAA, because inside each one of those, whether it's the recreational or non-recreational, 449 or Part 107 dashboard, there are links to other areas of the FAA website, because the FAA website's a government website. The UAS site actually is really well done. I'm going to congratulate you all on that.
It is really nice.
It's done very well and it works real well. But inside that there are links to different areas you can get.
And again, if you've got questions about anything on there, and you can always contact the UAS Support Center.
Yep, exactly. Thank you very much for coming here, and the show is awesome. Lots of people. It's really good to see that again.
So nice to meet you in person finally.
It is finally. That's right. It was just day before yesterday. We finally met in person after I don't know how many different Zoom calls, which is the rest of the world right now. I don't know how many times that conversation has been had this week. It's like finally in person.
But you know what? It's great because we're across the country from each other. And we can still chat.
And we still chat. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show. And we look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Thank you so much, Vic.
Alrighty. Have fun.
Eric, thanks for joining us. It's a real pleasure to have you out here. I'd really like to have you sort of introduce yourself and what you do and why you're so passionate about it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate seeing people in person for first time in a long time.
Not Zoom, right?
Right, not Zoom. Yeah, gosh, I can't get away from Zoom fast enough. So I work for the Air Traffic Organization. It's a large organization, 35,000 controllers, technicians, and support professionals that manage the national airspace system as the air navigation services provider. So often when people think about the FAA, they think of the regulatory side. Well, we're the other side of that coin, which is the air navigation services provider. So I lead a team of UAS integration professionals across all 8 service units within the ATO that are working on ensuring the safe and secure integration of UAS into the national airspace system.
Oh wow! So that's a lot of work. I know there's a lot of drones flying, there's a lot of planes flying, so you really need to be on top of the ball to preserve the safety of the national airspace. So that's awesome. So here, why are you so passionate about it, and how'd you get into it?
Well, so I was an air traffic controller for 25 years, including 6 years in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And so, I lived and breathed aviation and the national airspace system. And towards the end of my time out on the field as an air traffic controller, I got into traffic management, and I was a traffic management officer for a large district out in Kansas City. Wow. And Kansas Department of Transportation was part of the IPP program with the FAA, and so there was a lot of UAS activity within our airspace, a lot of interest from Garmin, who's headquartered in the Kansas City area, to really get UAS up and operating. And so I started learning about the process, learning about the regulatory and statutory constraints, and it just started to pique my interest. So that led me to headquarters, and then I eventually got into the UAS side. Yep.
That must have been such a stressful job. I just can't imagine all the moving parts on that. So that's amazing. So thank you. So that's amazing. So here's another question for you. The FAA is made up of a bunch of moving parts, a lot of different sections in that agency. How does the ATO and the UAS Integration Office work together?
Well, so that's my team. We sit at the intersection of where the AUS comes in to discuss all those matters of operational integration within the National Airspace System. So like I said, ATO is a really large place, and we have a significant amount of work ongoing just to maintain the NAS as it currently stands, at or near capacity with the current manned aviation. And so having a relatively small team in AUS try to navigate the vagaries and the intricacies of how ATO works and how they work together. We set up a team so we could help them get connected with the right folks. So we essentially act as facilitators and integrators. Who is the right person you need to talk to, and who within the ATO needs to talk to each other, and how do we connect that to the larger picture of the strategic planning, the implementation planning, and the execution.
So you're pretty much a drone whisperer in the FAA in terms of getting translation going and sort of knowing where to go to and sort of connecting people. So the connector in all of this.
Yeah, that's a really great way to put it. Integration and connectivity, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And drones are getting integrated everywhere, so I imagine you're always busy.
Yes, and of course, the biggest thing that we work on is airspace access, right? Airspace access and the safety cases. So we really want to ensure that anything we change in the NAS is safe. And so we have a whole team, safety and technical training, that does research, and they really assess any changes to the NAS and make sure that there's a level of safety that is appropriate for the
acceptable level of risk.
I didn't say that.
I lived and breathed that
Yes,
for months on end with the ARC, but yeah, we appreciate the work that you do there. So here's another question for you. What is what is considered navigable airspace, and how does the FAA educate drone pilots about it?
So this is actually an easy one, because navigable airspace is defined in the statute as any airspace below the regulations, down to and including all airspace needed for takeoff and landing of aircraft.
Yes.
Drones are aircraft.
Yes.
And so anywhere where drones are taking off and landing is navigable airspace in the eyes of the agency. And so Congress has not only directed us to manage it, but they've also directed us to regulate it, regulate the safety, ensure efficiency, ensure safety of people and property on the ground, things like that.
And it, from my perspective, makes a lot of sense, because drones, there are flyways, and it does happen. And guess what? Even if you're low altitudes, like next to the ground, if it goes flying, it's going to create a danger to traditional aircraft. So
yes, that's a big part of some of the work we do, is contingency responses for those off-nominal events, right? And trying to understand the interaction between maybe some uncontrolled airspace in low level, and how that's going to interact with the air traffic management system as is.
Wow.
Managing how to just really integrate that and ensure that air traffic controllers or the air traffic management systems that are in use are getting the appropriate information to make a good safety of flight decision.
Oh, wow. Okay. So are there, go ahead.
Oh, and as far as the education, I work closely with Office of Communications and our public relations folks, and we help basically translate the operational paradigm and all the things that are going on in our world with all of our acronyms and all of our shortcuts into plain language, so folks that aren't used to this regulatory environment understand, so they can understand what our constraints are and what needs to happen in order for them to fly safely.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a job in itself, is that translation, because we know that we speak in a lot of acronyms. So. And we need to just get that, make that language really easily understandable to folks who are flying every day. So it's appreciated what you do and what the Office of Communications does, because without it, it would be a much different view on drones and their acceptance and their integration. So we appreciate what you do, and thank you.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, and we'll see you around.
Thanks for having me. I'll be around.
The latest thing that came out was the Trust.
Yes.
The recreational UAS
safety test.
Safety test.
I got you.
Thank you. I was calling it Trust for months. I can't remember what it stands for. How important is that for the recreational flyer?
It's critically important, and not just because it's a requirement from Congress, as you know.
Right.
One of the things that we've always struggled with is reaching the recreational flyer community, people that They think their drones are fun, or RC aircraft are fun. They want to fly them for fun, but they're not going to go get a Part 107 and spend the money and do all that just to fly it for fun. So getting that education to them is important. So when we developed the trust, again at the behest of Congress, because they wrote that into that exemption 4409, we really wanted to make sure that we provided them with the baseline information of what they need to know to fly safe. And we had to do that in a manner that wasn't overly burdensome. This couldn't be some 4-hour juggernaut of a test. We didn't want to make people drive 3.5 hours in a car to go take it somewhere. So we, as many of us do in the drone industry, partnered together with industry to create this test. The topics that were on it, the type of questions and how we were going to ask the questions. And so the end product is what you see available now. It's online. I think we have roughly 18 FAA approved test administrators that provide that. It's completely free. It's a one and done test. And nobody's afraid to send the FAA hate mail, and we've received very, very little hate mail on trust. I'm going to consider that a success.
If you're not getting hate mail, that's a huge success.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's one of those things where if you're a recreational drone flyer and you're getting into this, taking the trust will provide you with all that baseline information so that you can fly safely, your first flight won't be your last, and you don't have to get unwelcome letters from the FAA.
Exactly, yeah. As a recipient of one of those letters back in the day, I appreciate that.
Yes, that's right.
We all were there at one point. Well, you weren't.
Yeah, right.
You were, the trust was kind of your baby at first, wasn't it?
Yeah, so when I was in flight standards working for the headquarters division, trust sort of fell underneath my team. So I was very fortunate to lead a team where I had excellent people working on the trust. So as you can imagine, you can't create a program like that, which is something the FAA had never done before, and do that in a bubble. So it involved, a lot of different groups within the FAA all working together, using input from industry to create this test that we needed to be available. It needed to be secure. We had to, consider all sorts of IT and security solutions with it, and then to make sure that when people got done taking it, they got the knowledge we wanted them to have. It was a huge challenge, so I'm very proud of my baby, as you'd say.
You should be. It's fun, it's easy, and it's free.
Yes.
And it's one and done, unless you lose it.
Then
you have to retake it.
You can retake it.
Why do you have to retake it if you lose it?
Well, one of the things we worked through are privacy concerns with making that test available online. And as you know, Section 44809 doesn't require a minimum age to comply with that rule. So we had to be very careful how we manage that test for personal identifiable information, all that type of thing. So the question of storing information came out, so we had to deal with that. And so we came up with our solution, which is, look, it's free. It's online. It might take you 20 minutes to get through the first time. If you lost your certificate that night, you could probably finish in 5 minutes the next day. So we thought that would be an adequate solution so somebody just get another trust certificate.
And they're not stored publicly. Nobody can access that information. You can't go online and reprint the one you just took for security.
No, that's correct. That's correct. If you notice on the trust, you are given a trust identification number on your certificate. That identification number is stored so we can verify somebody's showing us a certificate, but your personal identifiable information is not stored on that.
So Jess, thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to have you on our show today. So just to start out, would you introduce yourself? Let us know what you do for the FAA and how you got into aviation.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm the acting manager of the executive office in the UAS integration office. My team is the one that brought the FAA drone symposium here today down in Orlando. But this is a sort of a long place for me to get to, and I'm really excited about being in drones.
So here's a question for you. How do all of your offices work together to educate the public?
That's a really good question. And reaching out to the drone community is different for the FAA than our traditional communications methods. Most of our community is either certified operators or other organizations that are used to coming to us for information. The drone community is very different, and a lot of the drone community doesn't even realize that when they buy a drone, it's an aircraft, and they're a pilot flying in the National Airspace System. So we do a lot of creative things to get information to them. One of the creative things we do is a partnership with AUVSI, AMA, and CTA, and that's the Know Before You Fly program. So knowbeforeyouFly.org, it's an educational campaign. We share information on the web, social media, and a bunch of other different venues. So we're trying to get information out there for people to find. We also partner with a Loft on the Before You Fly app, and we're looking for new ways to get information out to folks every day.
Yeah, that's great. I use a Loft myself, so this is fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the next question I have is, what is the biggest challenge the FAA faces with drone outreach and education?
That's a great question again, and I think I'm going to go back to the fact that a lot of people who buy drones don't even realize it's an aircraft. And we need to welcome them into the aviation community, bring them in, teach them about safety culture. Again, try to meet them where they are. Go out, talk to community-based organizations, talk to the communities, engage with them, and help them learn about the safety in aviation, help them learn the safe things, learn about trust, get them to take the trust, gain that knowledge. So I definitely think that it's a matter of being creative and finding new ways to reach the pilots who still haven't realized that the FAA is out there.
Yeah, and I got to say the communications team is awesome. They've done a fantastic job of outreach on social media and helping educate a lot of our drone pilots. Because one of the things that we want to do is take care of the careless and the clueless, right?
Exactly. Yep. I mean, the important thing with safety is we're all in the same team. We're all in the same airspace. Whether you're in a traditional aircraft, sitting on the aircraft in the controls, or you're flying remotely, we're all in the same airspace system, and we're all responsible for each other. And safety is a team sport.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. It was eye-opening. You and I know quite a bit when it comes to, well, and others as well, but when it comes to how FAA works. But I learned a few things.
I did, and they're great people. I mean, that was the best part of it. They're normal human beings, and they're awesome to talk to, and they're very responsive. So
we hear so much that in the forums, in the industry, and talking back and forth with a few different people, it's like the FAA, you know, the FAA is this big entity of regulation and enforcement and knowledge and stuff like that. But yeah, it kind of is. That's sort of its job. But you know what? It's full of people. It's full of people that rock. With one exception, which I won't talk about, and it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Every FAA person I've ever dealt with have been just really cool people that like drones for the most part.
Yeah. And Eric likes FPV. He's like stoked on it.
That was cool.
That was cool. And if you folks didn't notice that FPV footage, that was right in front of the venue. And we were waiting for them. No, it wasn't a ramp check. We got to catch up with them later and show them a little bit of FPV action.
And not only was it in front of it, was through the entrance.
Yep. You
through
might
the
see it on
Porca share,
social.
not quite into it. Yeah, you never know. You never know. The FAA has that footage because it was given to them, not a court order. We got to we have to make that clear. And then they interviewed you about FPV. So that was kind of cool. Not sure what they're going to do with it. So it'll be kind of fun, but we'll link to it as well. But again, we'll just shout out to everybody again. Brian Wynn, of course. He was so beat by Thursday. I felt so sorry for him.
Jay was too.
Jay was too. Jay Merkel with the FAA. And Scott Stoffman, of course, our former colleague, who was stolen by the AUVSI from us. Nina Gullen, thank you, Nina, for putting all this together for us and getting the questions put out and getting the questions answered and going 14,000 different ways at once and still taking time for us. Brink and Drone Up again for letting us take over their upper levels.
Yeah, and big shout out to Amy. Remember,
Amy. Yes, thank you, Amy Wagon, for that. And we got to thank Adrian again too. So I'm looking forward to Denver next year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and not just because it's like 7 miles from my house. That doesn't suck though. I will probably end up in a room downtown though, just driving back and forth.
We got to plan some outdoor activities.
We got to plan some outdoor activities. We're going to try and do some stuff.
FPV,
bike
rides.
Other stuff.
Yeah,
we'll do it. We'll get it all. We got a year to get it down. 51 weeks actually, and we'll go from there. What do we have? We have anything coming up? I know we have Ohio that we're going to be arguing about here pretty soon, hopefully.
No, we'll be out in DC.
No, we'll be in DC. Oh, that's right. June 30th.
Yeah,
June 30th.
Somewhere around there, I think.
The DAC, AAC. Sorry, I'm still not used to that. The first in-person thing for that. So we'll have a good report on that, and it's sort of a slow legislation season right now because everybody's out.
Most sessions are over.
Yep. But next year is going to be a huge year for UAS
Mhm.
and the FAA
Mhm.
because of the 2023 FAA Reauthorization Act. So I think we're going to be hopping pretty quick next year.
Yep.
Yep.
Next year, this year. I
Next
forget.
year. Yep.
Yeah.
And we're already talking to a couple. The or DC Congress critters, we've been invited to talk to some of them already about possible inclusions into that bill. So that'll be kind of fun too.
Yeah, we're just educating them about
That's all we're doing.
what all our folks do.
We don't lobby. We're not registered. We educate.
Exactly.
That's what we do. That's what we do. As always, if you like what we do, hit like and subscribe.
Become a member.
Become a member. We'll have links below for membership. We have a newsletter that one of these days we'll put back out again.
Hey, we just put one out. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's right. That's right. We just did. I apologize for that. And you know what? We also might have some information about the Oregon Park thing here fairly soon.
Yep. And then the other thing too, if you'd like to intern or work on, help work with us,
that's right.
Reach out.
Reach out. We may have a opening to help get Kenji and Vic pointed in the right direction. So if you're up to that,
we need guidance.
We need guidance. We need guidance. We're good at what we do, but sometimes not so much what we don't do.
Yes.
So is that it?
That's it.
I think so. So thanks always for watching, and fly safe. I've got to always end it with fly safe because that's what we do.
Yep.
And so this is Vic.
This is Kenji.
And we'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.